So now what we want to do is that we want to get the items from our local storage and actually assign those items up over here and save them in the items field right here. So right now, if you actually go to this document over here, these items are not actually the part of the input field right here. So how exactly can we go ahead and add a field over here and use that field as a form field so that we can finally submit this data over here? Because the way in which this form works is that if you actually go to this view right here, we extract all the items like name, email, address, city, everything like that over here, and that items actually get saved into this particular object, and then we finally go ahead and save that object and it gets updated into the database. So now we actually need to add an items field to our form to actually get those items up over here. So in order to do the same, let's first go to the checkout.html, and in here we'll actually go ahead and add another input field over here, and we will set the type of that input field as hidden. So let's go ahead and do that over here. So what I will do here is that I'll simply type in input type equals, and instead of text, the type of this thing should be hidden. And once we have this hidden over here, I'll go ahead and assign this an ID as item, and I'll also assign the name for this particular input field as item as well. And let's actually make this items because we are storing multiple items in here. And now once we have this specific input field, our next job is to actually go ahead and fill out this input field. Now we obviously cannot ask the user to actually fill out that input field because obviously he doesn't want to take all these items and fill them up manually. So instead we actually need a way to automatically assign this input field the values inside our cart. So in order to do that, we'll simply go ahead and make use of JavaScript and jQuery right over here. So in this particular JavaScript code, what we will do is that first of all, we'll go ahead and select the items field. So I'll type in $, and I'll select that on the basis of its ID. So I'll type in hash items. So once we have selected that, I'll set its value equal to the value of the items which are actually present in the cart. So I can simply go ahead and type in json.stringify, which will actually convert this thing into a string, and then I will actually pass in cart over here, which means that this specific line of code will actually take the values inside the cart, which is the variable cart which we have just created right here, and it will actually convert that JSON object into a string, and it will assign its value to the element whose ID is items. And the element whose ID is items is nothing but the hidden input field which we have just created, which is nothing but this field right here. So that means this field is now automatically being filled with the help of jQuery and JavaScript. So now that means whenever we go ahead and submit this form along with all the other details, now we also have access to items over here as well. So now let's go ahead and extract items over here as well. So I'll type in items equals, and I guess we have actually named that particular thing as items over here as well. And yeah, we have named that thing as items, so that won't be an issue. So we'll type in items equals request.post.get, and we will get the items, and the by default is going to be empty. So now once we have added this items over here, you also need to pass in those items over here as well. So you need to type in items equals items over here, give a comma, and you should be good to go. So now let's go ahead and see if this thing works. So let me actually go to the document. Let's go back to the home page. Let's add in a few more items. Let's go to checkout. Let's fill this thing with some dummy data, and when I click on place order, the order is placed. So now when I go ahead and hit refresh, it's actually showing 4 over here because I've tested this thing by placing 2 other orders. So now when I click on this, as you can see, now we have this particular item submitted over here in form of a string. So as you can see, now we have the order details over here, which is nothing but our cart, and we also have the other details as well submitted in the database. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys be able to understand how to actually place the order and collect all these details. However, there is one issue with our site currently. That is, if you actually have a look at our checkout page, as you can see, it's actually showing up the items, it's actually showing up the quantity as well, but it does not show the price and the total amount of the orders placed. So for example, we want a checkout page which not only shows the ordered items and their quantity, but we also want the price of these individual items and the total price of all the items which we have added in our cart. So we are going to go ahead and design that functionality in the upcoming lecture. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.